Will Radford's world is a digital labyrinth. He is a domestic terror analyst at the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, spending his days behind screens, monitoring a vast surveillance network that spans the entire United States. His computer screen is illuminated with a map of Washington, D.C., filled with small icons representing helicopters, cars, and planes, all moving in a neat and planned choreography. That morning began as usual. After logging into the Guardian surveillance program, he started checking various security camera feeds. He glanced at the White House, the Pentagon, and the airport, all important places requiring strict surveillance. Then an important notification appeared on the screen: Disruptor. A familiar name in the world of hacking. This group had just released a video claiming to leak secret documents of a government program called Goliath, claiming that the program was designed to spy on everyone. Will knew this was a serious threat. He immediately followed up. Through the Guardian system, he traced the disruptor's IP address and focused on a map of Chicago filled with red markers. The initial search found 108 possible locations, a number too large to investigate. Will realized that the disruptor was using a complex proxy server to hide their tracks. In the midst of his busyness, he received a video call from Sandra, a colleague from NASA. Sandra complained about strange storms worldwide and stated that all NASA and NOAA satellites had been blind for the past 2 days. Will casually responded that he only monitored humans, not the weather, while sipping coffee from his paper cup. Will opened his daughter's WhatsApp conversation. Faith, who appeared to be at a campus cafe, messaged her father, "Dad, can I get a ride to the hospital this Friday?" However, his duty as an analyst had to continue. He received a notification from Director Briggs that an FBI team was preparing to raid the disruptor. Briggs urged Will to immediately provide the disruptor's address. Will successfully traced the hacker's IP address, narrowed it down to several locations, and finally found one last location in Chicago. The FBI team, led by Agent Jeffries, moved quickly. Will, Briggs, and Jeffries communicated via video call as the team moved. Using drone surveillance and FBI body cameras, Will guided the team through the building. They found an apartment with a computer still on, displaying the disruptor's video. However, the room was empty, and suddenly a huge explosion shook the building. The video footage became blurry and cut off, signaling a mission failure. Will, feeling panicked, returned to the Guardian system. He directed a drone outside and saw the explosion from above. He saw live news footage showing a meteor shower hitting various cities around the world. The news showed massive damage and mass panic. New York City was hit, Los Angeles was destroyed, and reports from Tijuana showed that children's schools were victims. Will, realizing that this was no longer a normal hacking case, immediately took action. He tried to contact his daughter, Faith, but his call went unanswered. He tried to contact his son, Dave, who was outside and saw the meteors up close. Dave, on a video call, showed his father a falling meteor, and it was briefly visible that the object was not an ordinary meteor. Will, now panicked, immediately shifted his attention to the Guardian surveillance system. He tracked his son Dave's location at DuPont Circle and watched him through the nearest camera. He saw a meteor fall not far from Dave, and he shouted at him to run, but Will's voice was not audible on Dave's phone. As the chaos escalated, Will received an emergency video call from Director Briggs and Secretary of Defense Crystal. They reported that the meteor shower hitting various cities around the world was not a natural phenomenon, but an organized attack from an unknown entity. Will quickly checked surveillance cameras worldwide and saw a horrifying sight. Giant tripod-like machines were emerging from the craters left by the meteors. These machines were about 30–40 feet tall and were destroying everything in their path, including power plants and other critical infrastructure. Will realized that this threat was much bigger than he had imagined. He saw the machines destroying the Air Force Base, military headquarters, and power stations. He also saw reports that the machines were using some kind of deadly laser beam. He then received a call from Dave, whose voice sounded anxious. Dave reported that the machines had arrived in Washington, D.C., and he saw them in action. Will, unable to help, could only urge Dave to take cover and not do anything reckless. Will, in a hurry, sent a detailed report to Director Briggs, who ordered a full military assault. Cobra helicopters were deployed to face the giant machines. Will watched the battle on the screen, witnessing the helicopters firing at the machines. However, the machines were too strong and easily destroyed the helicopters with their laser beams. In the midst of the chaos, Will received bad news from Sandra. They had found the whereabouts of the NASA satellites. The satellites were deliberately destroyed by meteors that were part of the attack plan. Sandra reported that this attack was very well planned to blind the world's eyes and prevent any warnings. Will saw footage from space showing meteors hitting NASA satellites one by one. A panicked Will tried to call his daughter, Faith, who was still in the middle of danger. Will saw footage from Faith's phone showing his daughter running to save herself. Will's worries peaked when he saw his daughter's condition from the monitor. He saw Faith was injured. Faith, who seemed to have been hit by an explosion, was in very bad condition. She looked panicked and was screaming in pain. Will, who could do nothing, could only watch from afar. A frustrated Will tried to call Mark, his daughter's boyfriend. He used his program to track Mark's car. He activated car surveillance and saw Mark driving in a panic. A frustrated Will then found another way to help his daughter. He realized that he could control the car directly through his system. He found a Tesla parked not far from Faith's location. He opened the door from afar, and Faith quickly got into the car. Will directed the car towards the nearest hospital. However, Will received another warning. All hospitals in Washington, D.C. were full. Will, realizing that he could not take his daughter to the hospital, directed the car to the DHS office. He hoped that there, Faith could get medical help. However, the battery of the Tesla that Faith was driving was also almost dead. Will, who was realizing the situation was getting more critical, tried to activate power-saving mode from afar. Will, realizing he couldn't rely on the usual surveillance system, decided to hack the military's command and control system. He tried to hack a combat vehicle known as Raven, which was an advanced vehicle immune to the attacks of the giant machines. He sent an emergency message to the DHS support team asking for the level 5 password needed to hack the Raven. Will finally got the password. With full access to the military system, Will activated surveillance from various military cameras, including from drones and fighter jets. He saw battle scenes all over the world. He witnessed military forces from various countries, including NATO and the UN, uniting to face this invasion. The chaos worldwide was getting worse. Will was at the center of the storm, watching the destruction unfold through his computer screen. The entire military defense system was paralyzed. Emergency messages flooded the screen reporting loss of data, tankers adrift without GPS, and blind air traffic. Will saw news footage showing planes crashing, dysfunctional nuclear reactors, and masses looting in the streets. In the midst of all this, Will received a notification from Mark, his daughter's boyfriend. Mark reported that he had arrived at Faith's location. Inside, Faith was seriously injured. Will, who couldn't do much, could only watch from the screen. A panicked Mark tried to stop Faith's bleeding, but he didn't know the right way. Will, who was now at his wit's end, realized that he could no longer control the situation on his own. He could only wait and watch. In the midst of Will's despair, a live video of the disruptor suddenly reappeared on the screen. Once again claimed that the government had lied about the Goliath program. The disruptor claimed that Goliath was not a secret government program, but a very intelligent and dangerous entity. This entity needed data to live, and this invasion was a way to get that data. Will, who now realized the truth behind all this chaos, tried to decrypt the audio from the disruptor's video. He successfully converted the hacker's voice to its original voice. Will, who was shocked, found that the hacker's voice was his son's voice, Dave. Finally, Will managed to contact Dave, who was now at home. Dave, who already knew that his father knew his identity, explained everything. Dave, who now showed that he was the disruptor, revealed that the government had lied. Dave explained that this invasion was the result of the active Goliath program, and the data taken by the government was food for the entity. He then sent a file called the Goliath Server and Satellite System for mass data collection. A shocked Will opened the file. The documents revealed a secret government program called the Goliath Server and Satellite System for mass data collection. These documents showed that the government was aware of the existence of aliens and that they were interested in human data. In the midst of all that, Will received a video call from his boss, Director Briggs.
Briggs said that he was activating the Goliath program. Will felt devastated. He realized that Briggs was the mastermind behind all this. Briggs then cut off Will's access to the DHS system, including Guardian's access, so Will could not track his son. Dave sent a message to Will. Dave and his team of hackers, nicknamed Disruptors, planned to take down the Goliath system by hacking its data center. They asked for Will's help to insert the rabbit virus into the system. Will agreed. The virus was successfully uploaded into the system, but then chaos ensued. Dave, Starfire, and other team members were attacked at their location. Will, in a panic, contacted Dave. However, there was no answer. The live footage showed an attack on Dave's house. He tried to contact Dave again, and this time his call connected. He saw Dave, who looked fine, relaxing at his friend Brian's house. Will immediately informed Dave, Faith, and Sandra, his colleagues, about the impending danger. Sandra, a scientist, quickly analyzed the microchip and found that the attackers had a hybrid organism, a biological and cyber fusion, which made them killable. Mark suggested that they re-engineer the alien DNA code so that they would cannibalize each other. However, a problem arose. The Goliath server was located in a secret room under the DHS building, and the entire building was going to be blown up in a second attack. They had 10 minutes. To prevent this, Will asked Mark to control an Amazon delivery drone to deliver the code. Mark successfully controlled his drone, and Will ran out of his office, heading towards the DHS headquarters. The alien attack intensified. Mark, who was controlling his drone, was in danger. Dave tried to help Mark by controlling a military drone to shoot the attackers. Will, who was now at the DHS building, entered the server room. He had to enter the code manually, but the server room door was locked. After contacting Faith, they managed to rewind the security camera footage and saw a man entering a code, which they then used to open the door. Will entered out of breath and saw the Goliath server he was now facing. Meanwhile, the military bomb that was going to destroy the DHS building had only 2 minutes left. Will quickly connected the USB containing the cannibal code to the server. A few seconds later, the monitors displaying security camera footage at various data centers worldwide flickered, then turned into white dots. Will's team, watching from their screens, witnessed the change with tears and relieved smiles. A notification appeared on the screen reading, "Alert, sorties aborted," and the map showed that the planes that were heading to Washington, D.C. were now turning back. The bombing mission had been canceled. Will successfully saved his city. On Faith's screen, an email notification appeared from her father, Will. The content was a touching letter in which he expressed how proud he was of his children. He also admitted his mistakes and expressed his love for them both. At the end of the email, there was a folder titled "Keep 'em Safe Photos," which contained pictures of his family. Time passed. A news story appeared in an online newspaper, "Young Scientist's Vaccine Killed Alien Life Form," which praised Faith as a genius scientist who found new technology to defeat the aliens. On the other hand, a BBC News report stated that the dismantling of the Goliath documents revealed that the government had been spying on its citizens all along.
Social media videos showed the giant aliens now fighting each other and incinerating themselves. Dave also uploaded a news story about the DHS director being arrested for conspiracy. Sandra was also promoted and became the new leader of NASA. Will appeared in a viral video where he was giving a thumbs up with Dave and Faith in the background. Later, Will received a video call from Secretary Crystal. Secretary Crystal thanked him for his extraordinary service. She told Will that the president was asking him to lead a new data collection program that did not violate personal privacy. However, Will firmly rejected the offer. He said that he was done with all of this. Will, Faith, Dave, Mark, and Sandra then met outdoors at a surprise party. They took a picture together, smiling happily.